it's Kasha Gage. Welcome back. Today I'm going to be sharing a full walkthrough of my completed 2022 December daily album. This might be one of my favorites. I really enjoyed the making this year. I loved taking the photos. I loved bringing everything together. If you guys happen to see my starting place for my album, and I'll link that for you guys above and down below, several things still kind of flowed or stayed the same. I did what I would call foundation page light. So I had already, a couple pages I had fully prepped. I would just need to add my words and my photos. But for a good chunk of my album, I had thought about a layout or a flow of how I wanted the pages to go and had pulled different pattern papers or embellishments so that way it could help me not only make decisions faster when that day came, but also to spark some different stories or photos. So I'm going to dive in here. If you guys have any questions, be sure to leave them in the comments below. And I am linking for you guys also above a playlist. For a good majority of this album, I do have process videos in case you haven't seen them. So I did my album in a 10x8, or did my December daily, there we go, in a 10x8 this year. I did this size last year as well. And I will say this year, I definitely felt more comfortable with it than I did last year because it was super new. And also I did my Week in the Life album in a 10x8. So I felt a lot more at ease. And where last year I was it's a bigger size. I'm not sure what to do or how to make this fit. I used a gray linen album from Ali Edwards Design. You can see it has gotten pretty dirty with it being linen, but I'll take a wet rag to it and see if I can get it off, but I'm okay. I'm not going to swap it out or anything. How I like to always open my albums is with a full page photo. I feel like it just kind of gives a nod to what the season is about. That's something I personally love to do. And for this album, I have some glue on my photo. I have a photo of myself, Ben and Henry in bed in our PJs. I'm gonna use this photo for our Christmas card. Okay, there we go. This transparency, I ended up printing out with my laser printer and ran it through Make. Part of this came from a journal card. So I mishmashed a couple of design elements using digitals from this year's collection. Another full page photo of Ben, Henry, and myself. You'll notice in this album, I love full page photos. It's something I quite enjoy. I love especially a big photo. I think pretty much every single story in this album as well does have a photo this year, something a little bit different. Just talking about who we are, what we're doing, what our life is right now, and then setting some intentions here. Story one, I opened my album with my hopes for you. I wrote to Ben, and then he wrote his hopes for me. So back those. That's a nice little way I felt to open the season. And I also love that, it's handwritten, right? I always love seeing the handwriting. So not only of myself, but of him. And any opportunity I can bring his voice into the album, I love to do so. Using a canvas pouch here, or canvas pocket, that was from the 2021 collection. Trying to keep track, we're in 2023. Lots of 2020s here. Another full page photo here. This is us decorating the tree and underneath the tree. And then a photo of my husband and some journaling. For a good majority of my journaling this year, I don't know if I even want to keep that in there. Maybe we'll just take that out. I ended up typing that and printing it with my laser jet and ran that through my Mink. The Mink machine was new to me this year, say that new craft toy, and I absolutely loved playing with it. You can see I'm minking all the things. This is done in gold foil, and I pretty much used gold foil for all of that. A story about the Christmas pajama tradition, bringing in a large felt 3 that's gold stitched from my stash. Story 4, this is about our real tree. Made a little shaker pocket here on some vellum. Another photo of Henry under the tree. And then again, more journaling about, you know, the tradition of when we started the real tree and keeping that going. Story 5, reasons why I love December. Creating a little peekaboo here and framing that with part of the nested chipboards that were in the main kit this year and putting a couple stars. I decided to put a number 5 on both sides just because if it spins, I do like how that ends up. I didn't plan that, but that framed my husband. I really liked that. So some journaling about reasons why I love December. This page was, I used the digital from the numbers scrapbook kit, the quarterly scrapbook kit for the theme of numbers. Bringing in a full photo from December past. I love the snow, so added a little one of those vellum strips that says I'm dreaming of a white Christmas, just like the ones I used to know. Thought that lended well is in addition to story 6 being about remember this. So, you know, I like you have like a kind of a triangle here of green and then the nod to remember and just saying like ones I used to know. Story 6 is about remember. So some felt alphas that I had in my stash. A photo from a Christmas past. This was from 1985. I thought this was the oldest photo I had, but I actually found a photo from Christmas 84. I was born in 84. So full page of stamping here. Then here's some behind the scene photos for our Christmas card. You know, Ben put, mounted my phone to the ceiling to be able to do this. And I know I said this in a process video. In hindsight, I think I would have preferred that red to be down here. This is just from pattern paper. I only did 7 photos because this is my story 7, but I left it, I didn't redo it here. So here's our Christmas card using a digital version of one of the half circle die cuts, and I minked that with red. And then on the back side, again, journaling. It might be hard to see here. I don't know if I can shift this in the light. So you see it's got that little bit of shimmer there. Story 8, using a couple of those nested chipboard circles to create the 8. One of the journal cards, that 4x4 journal card, I just trimmed down to fit inside of this circle. There are a bunch of phrase stickers from my stash. Journaling on the back. So this was just kind of a story about like today, what we did today, where we went, all of those things. Taking one of I think that was from 2021, we'll call it a pattern, or if it's handwritten pattern, however you want to call that, and just masking that onto the background of my photo, adding a photo of what I was capturing, Ben and Henry next to the tree. Story 9 is all about joy, this fun little flip up, and that's the journaling underneath, a little letter to Henry, photo of him and I snuggling. I love this too, this sentiment. This is I think a pleather sentiment. This may have been from 2020. The littlest things in life are where we find real true joy. Absolutely love that. That just feels so fitting. Story 10 is all about gratitude. 10 things I am thankful for here. A photo of Ben and Henry, just kind of relaxing, a quiet moment. Here's an example where I didn't use a number to dictate my story. I don't always use numbers for the majority. Times I do because I love numbers. I love typography. I love the look of them. But here's the case where I just didn't feel like a number was going to look good anywhere because of how this photo was. And then the embellishments I used, those were from my stash there. Okay, story 11 is 2 parts. We had a Zoom call. A few former creative team members and I got together. So took a screenshot of our Zoom call. You see a number there. There's this little shaker pocket. And then the rest of story 11 is from our neighbor's Christmas party. I have a lot of, you guys see me in the process, a lot of little bits of adhesive here and there. That's bound to happen though. Just have to leave some of that. Okay, so creating a little flip up. This, I kind of thought of it like a picture frame. You know, you have the, say it's a red picture frame, and then the mat is like red and white. This is using a transparency here and putting one of the plastic phrases from the stash and then some additional journaling down below. On the back, story 12 kind of covers a couple things. So here are a few different patterns of our wrapping paper. Now I could have just left this as is, but I felt I wanted to tell a little bit more of the story. So again, there's my journaling. It's printed on transparency and ran through the Mink. And this was using the digital of the circle die cut page. Oh, and that one has fallen apart. I'm gonna have to go back in and fix it. So on the back side, I cut up one of the 3x8 transparencies, fa la la, and then there is a photo. I know before when you guys saw, I had just a Post-it note. So here are a bunch of presents, gifts to be wrapped, right? So bring on the presents. Story 13, all about my holiday reads, what I was planning to read this year or did read, and then just journaling about that. This is using the felt stitch pocket. Again, journaling on transparency and a little tag tucked into there. Story 14, all about the advent calendar. We got one for Henry this year and he just absolutely loved it. Every time in the evening after he finished his dinner, he would go and run to the counter and just sit there and wait, hoping for a little treat. So talking about that with him. Story 15, using pockets. This idea came from Allie from part of this, well, 2020's prep day. And I know I had shared that I ended up just straight up scrap lifting her on this one. This is not something, or I should say I've deviated maybe from some of these different craftier bits in my albums the past couple of years, and it's just been far more photo and word heavy. But I wanted to give myself the opportunity to play and to try it out. And I like how it ended up doing or coming together. Adding a 15, a little cluster here, a star, I'm loving this. And then inside each pocket, let me pull these out here. You see that there are photos, made photo strips. So a few photos of myself, some of me and Henry, then Ben and Henry, and then my husband, Ben. So these are, my thought process was, you know, 3 stockings, there'd be 5 photos for each, so total of 15. Then we each would have a journal card about loving, 5 things each, 15 total. Sometimes how my mind works with numbers. But so another opportunity to bring Ben's handwriting in here of what he was loving. The back side of this, I created a custom pattern in Illustrator and ran this with my Mink. And I think the color I used on this was mint. I know it wasn't green. So did that for all of us. Henry, he wrote out the first part and then I filled in the rest. So those are super cute. I love how that one came together. Adding for the backside, I just added a little Santa. I didn't feel like it needed additional things. Story 16 is all about twinkle lights. I have several of the photos layered on top. This didn't quite come out the way that I was envisioning, partly because of the photo I used. If you happen to catch my photo-driven storytelling class with Big Picture, you would have seen a layout similar to that, and the photo worked really well because it created an optical illusion. But I ended up leaving it. I was okay with that. We try things, right? Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, sometimes it's just okay. Using one of the words twinkle, that was from the main kit, a plastic word, and I ended up cutting that word out just out of white cardstock a couple times to back it and just give it a little bit of depth, because these greens against the black were not standing out as well. Photo of Henry looking at Christmas lights on one of our light drives, and then a story of, you know, a story of twinkle lights, a story of us driving. You're gonna see me, guys. You're gonna see me do this. I haven't flipped through the entire thing, so I apologize here as I'm doing that. Story of the twinkle lights. This specific house had its own Yelp page. Super crazy. All right, so then story 17, for the entire day, I ended up capturing it via video. And I do have this covered just for our privacy, but even to open this video, I recorded about a 2-minute intro to that. You guys can, if you're interested, you can hear my words. You can watch that part of my Story 17 post on Instagram. But I love bringing in technology in a little bit of a different way. If you guys have more questions on creating a QR code or how I hosted it or anything, again, just let me know. Story 18, this is about the World Cup, watching that. My husband is originally from France, for those of you guys that don't know, so it was pretty awesome to see France play in the finals of the World Cup, and unfortunately, they did lose to Argentina. When it was after I put this together, I thought I should have, or I think I would have preferred to have done this photo in black and white and maybe kept this vellum strip there or done gold washi. But rather than redoing it, I'm embracing it as it is, trying to find that balance, right, in all of my projects. Story 19, let's see, this is part of a die cut that was included in one of the packs this year. So that is sandwiched in between piece of cardstock here, pattern cardstock, and then photo. So Story 19 is all about making Henry his ornament this year. That was a lot of fun. You can even see in his eyes, he's like, I don't know what you're doing, Mom. This is weird. He was a trooper, a good sport for that. Story 20, a Target run. We happened to, or as we were pulling in, our car has 360-degree cameras, and it also has the aerial camera. So we pulled in and I saw this come up on our screen and just loved it and snapped a photo. It's a little bit blurry, but again, completely okay and embracing it. So using some of those rubber tags, and then using the same shape to create a little bit of my journaling about us doing Target runs and what was on our list. And I put the prices with that. I know it's really small font, and I can only imagine years to come, I'm going to have to have a magnifier glass. So Story 21, here's an example of one I did not put a number. I considered doing just a couple of the tiny little numbers. I don't know, I have used them somewhere, or putting a Tim Holtz Brad, but I just left it. It's completely okay with me. This is the Would You Rather. And Ben still hasn't filled his out now that I see that. That's interesting. Okay. Well, I'm going to have to give that to him to fill out. I thought he did. My bad. But a couple of photos of us with Henry. I like that he's represented in there, you know, which he is quite a bit in our album. So on the back side, I just did one of the die cut words that says joy. I cut this out with my silhouette and just layered it. I think I layered 2 of these together and adding a little Santa. Story 22, when you guys originally saw this, I did not have a number because the date was down below, but I just went ahead and added the 22 there. Big plastic transparency of Bah Humbug, another little vellum strip. This is, Ben wrote this journaling about his working from home, or what his work schedule and the projects he's working on and things like that. So this is where I left off on process videos. You guys are going to see the rest here. So Story 23, around the table. You pull this out. There's the photo of my husband, Ben. And then there is journaling down below, and that is also inked. And I just put a piece of pattern paper on the back. I was completely okay with, you know, and it could have been left blank, but just adding that. And it's nice because you see a little bit of what's on the table, and then you see it around when you pull it out. Story 24 is part of Christmas Eve. A couple of my cousins who live here in San Diego right now, they drove up to us and we got to spend the holidays together. So a little selfie. This does have, I'll pull this out. This does have one of the transparencies sandwiched in between a journal card, again, foiling my journaling, and then just adding that chipboard number of 24. On the back side here, for Story 25, you see that little bit of transparency, my journaling for Christmas, a little canvas phrase strip there, the number 25, and a couple of those pleather Santas, puffy Santas, not sure what they're calling them. A couple photos of opening gifts. And then the last page is a photo, again, my cousin. There's her dog, our dog, Henry, some of the chaos in the morning. So that is a look at this year's album. I have to say, again, I really love how it all came together. I did a little bit more crafty, or gave myself permission even to try to play and do a little bit of things differently. And I think that's exactly what I needed for the album this year. Just, you know, mixing it up, trying new things, embracing different things, still trying to stay true to who I am and what I love and my style. But, you know, we can always try and test new things out. So that is a look. If you guys have any questions, be sure to leave them in the comments below. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button to stay tuned for more videos like this. I'm so thankful for you guys being here with me this holiday season and spending your time, and I've loved connecting with you all. So I am wishing you guys a wonderful 2023 if you're watching this in real time. And even if you're watching it later, I just hope you guys are doing well. Sending light and love to you all. Take care.